A long time ago, we did a podcast about demographics. At that time, I mentioned that the average age of a person in Rwanda was 22 years of age,
Mm,
the average age.
yeah.
I had to check several times to see if what I was reading was correct.
Mm,
'Cause I thought it was very young.
yeah.
And basically, all the sources claim the same thing.
Mm,
The
yeah.
average age is 22 years old. Uh, I happened to check again yesterday.
Mm,
And now the average age in Rwanda is 19.9 years of age. A lot of young people versus very few older people.
yeah.
Now, I mention this and you'll understand why
Yeah.
as we go along. After an active 6 days, Donald Trump mediated between Russia and Ukraine to try and find a peace deal.
Yes.
And after some eventful meetings and phone calls, it seems closer rather than further apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, finger
Uh,
crossed. Yeah.
this being said, some people weren't all that happy. Right?
Yeah.
During the meeting at the White House, Meloni, the Italian
Yeah.
uh, leader, she rolled her eyes as German Chancellor Merz tried to make things a little more complicated than needed to be by suggesting a ceasefire before a further meeting took place.
Yeah.
Uh, After comments from the press about Starmer's word salad, which said absolutely nothing, he had an opportunity to speak, and he just said absolutely nothing after like a 30-second speech.
Yeah.
I think that said more about his personality than anything else.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I never know. Yeah.
Just waffle, just waffle.
Yes.
The general consensus is that the Washington meeting was a success anyway.
Well,
Right?
yeah. I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah. This, of course, was bad news for the European weapons manufacturers, whose share prices took a tumble with the possibility of peace.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Of course, back at home, British Prime Minister decided to aggravate the situation by sending British troops to Ukraine, even
Yeah.
though one of Russia's demands before peace talks could take place was no NATO troops in Ukraine.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Granted, it said they would be away from the front lines, they would partake in defensive roles for Ukraine
Mm,
and also for training exercises.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
One could argue that either the troops could be used for covert operations other than those that were declared by the British government,
Mm,
and or if any were killed because they took a bullet in their defensive position, that could escalate a very fragile situation.
yeah. Okay.
So if Russia sent the missiles across to take
Mm,
out HIMARS
yeah.
equipment and the British troops were there and they get killed,
Well,
what
strictly
does
speaking, yeah. They're still
what
there,
does
operational. Yeah. Yeah.
Starmer do? Of
Mm,
course. So, what the UK is trying to do on the world stage, other than to divert attention away from domestic issues, I have no idea, because we just can't afford it.
mm. Well. Okay.
I can't see them getting much. I can't see them getting the British, of course. I can't see the British getting much back from their donations when the war is over from Ukraine.
Yeah. I can extend the
And
list a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
I say this about the UK. Of course, I always say this. I also say this about Germany,
Yeah.
who's climbing up the walls because of this, and to a certain extent, France.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
So, why was I on about Rwanda at the beginning of this podcast?
Mm,
Well, the reason why the average age of a Rwandan
mm,
is only 19.9 years of age is because the country is still in the process of replenishing its human stock as they
yeah.
suffered an awful lot of life,
Mm,
an awful lot of life, loss of life
yeah.
during a genocide they
Yeah.
suffered back in 1994,
Yeah.
where many of the population, both young and old, were killed.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people. I mean, this is not just one or two. This is a lot
No.
of
No.
people.
This is
Right.
yeah. It was yeah. Organized. Yeah.
So even 30 years later, they're still trying to right this young old imbalance.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, I believe that the women now are having like three and a half, four children each to try and,
Mm.
but it's still in that growth
Well, yeah,
stage.
you can't just, yeah, bang a population back up like this. Yeah, I mean,
That's right. It takes time.
yeah,
So, um, numbers released yesterday after some hacking to Ukrainian databases showing that 1.7 million troops have been either killed or missing in action from the
yeah.
Ukraine side, more than three times the amount declared by Zelensky some time ago. Right? Uh, and this number, of course, of this number of 1.7 million did not include the wounded.
So yeah, those are,
No wonder Ukraine was sending out press gangs to get young blood to face off against the Russians. And of course, the numbers didn't include those Ukrainians who fled the country over the past 3 years either.
mm, yeah,
A lot of them are in the UK, in Germany.
wherever, yeah, yeah, they're
So that is a huge loss for the future growth, both economic and the population of Ukraine.
mm,
The situation was best explained by Ukrainian MP Artem Dmitruk, who simply said, "We have lost several generations." He said that entire villages were emptied of men to fight and that Ukraine was facing huge losses and a demographic crisis. Which makes me ask once again why the British Prime Minister is wanting to rock the boat by officially sending British troops to Ukraine.
occasionally I do think and consider things, and um, the it's a peacekeeping force. I have been doing some background reading about the Ukraine, and we're talking pre 2014 or 2014 as well. There's a BBC News report about this as well, from that period of time, not recently, yeah. And it's I agree that maybe we need to have a peacekeeping force sent to Ukraine, not necessarily to keep peace against the Russians, but to keep peace with different sections of Ukrainian society with each other. Um, and I'm not just saying the obvious, the Russian speaking. There are Russian speaking or people identify as Russian. Yeah, that's what kicked all this off over many years ago. Yeah, okay. Um, but also the extremities of Ukrainian society. You've got some people that believe in a slightly harder right way of going on, pro-Western. You've even got some people that are more still, believe it or not, pro-Russian. Yeah, I don't mean absolutely Russian, more, yeah, more more friendly towards Russia, let alone any other sections of society you've got there. You've still got communists floating about there. Yeah. So it's an interesting mix. So when I think peacekeeping force, I don't, and it's probably something that nobody's speaking about, that come the end of this conflict, and okay, we can all have a view whether what Russia did, rights, the wrongs, and everything else, yeah, and whether or not we justify or understand it and not justify it, but yeah, um, it's going to leave a power vacuum. Let's just imagine that the Zelensky administration is going to disappear. Yeah. The most worried man in Ukraine at the moment must be Zelensky. Yeah.
Not really, he'll just go somewhere a long, long way away.
Well, okay, whatever. Yeah. I don't think he should be remaining in Ukraine, but that's up to
I,
Zelensky.
I don't think he thinks that either.
Yeah. Um, I'm, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Um, and I do believe, yeah, Ukraine will be suffering for, well, obviously for quite a few years to come. Disregards its loss of population. Yeah. I mean, Ukraine can't. Okay, you could argue Russia, what's going on with Russia? Can they afford to keep going indefinitely? No, they can't. No country can afford a conflict indefinitely. Yeah. Okay, you can stick our fingers up the air and do a guesstimate over what Russia can do and can't do. Yeah. We don't know. It's the overriding thing of that. We probably have got a bit more of a clue what Ukraine can and cannot survive. Um, unless you are talking about sending international bodies there to continue with the conflict, which even America's balking away from. Because let's be honest, the US is in no mood to get involved in a third major European conflict. Once again, us Europeans have proved in modern history that we actually need the Americans to keep us all together. I made a Brazilian laugh when I said that the other day. She couldn't believe a European was saying that. Hey, the facts speak for themselves. I'm not happy about it any more than anyone else. Now, I do honestly believe that, yeah, the big problem is, yeah, rebuilding Ukraine in more ways than one, but keeping Ukraine together in order to rebuild it. What's going to happen about the Crimea and the Donbass region? Okay, that's what the phone calls are all about. You're not easily going to remove the Russians from that area now. They've got it. Yeah.
Yep.
Unless, yeah, unless you want to skirt with the idea of having WW3. Yeah. Again, the rights and wrongs of that outside this discussion for me. I do honestly believe, yeah, Ukraine has got more than one problem. Ukraine had problems before the conflict.
Yep.
In all honesty, the Ukraine had conflict. I mean, regime change happened in 2014 there, certainly. Yeah. I've seen so many documentaries and other things about it that, let's just put it this way, are very convincing beyond denial. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a huge paradox in Ukraine after this conflict has been resolved, because the Ukraine is going to need Russian people to fill the void of Ukrainian people. Whereas 1.7 million people have died, men,
Yeah.
soldiers have died when they were in Civvy Street. Somebody has to do the jobs that they did, that they used to do, and I don't think that Ukraine is going to turn. It's a little bit like Israel.
Yeah.
Israel have, before this conflict in Gaza, when Israel was ticking along, people from Arab countries were going to Israel to work because they needed these people, and everybody on the ground was getting on reasonably well.
Well, there's always way populate.
So I think that you're going to have this void created by this conflict in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And who's going to fill the void, which is the obvious question. And how long would it take it's going to take at least like 25, 30 years. If all the young women started like in Rwanda,
children,
having 3 or 4 kids each, and it's going to last 30 years just for that to sort of level itself out.
Well,
so it'll be interesting, because Germany's waiting for their money to come back, right? But the thing is, the economy is not going to take off in Ukraine because there's nobody to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what I think. I mean, are we going to? I mean, unless, yes, you do get Western Europeans flood into Ukraine, and Americans, maybe Canadians, Australians, blah blah, but go there to do things, and may even stay there. I mean, it's going to be that. Now, as I said a while ago, and what we've said in previous podcasts, the one group of people are not going to be able to decide their future are the Ukrainians. Yeah. Well, there are enough of them now. I'm not laughing. Yeah, I'm doing it with a smile on my face. I know people misunderstand me when I do that. It's a very British thing. I sympathize, and like you said, I sympathize with the people on the ground. We can get on well with people. I'll be quite honest. I've met Russians when I've been here. Perfectly nice people. I mean, no problem at all. They're joking and laughing, and they did. I remember some years ago they hinted that the way that the Russians are perceived by the rest of the Europeans is a little bit of an irritation to them. Yeah, for them. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but okay, that's neither here nor there. Um, it is. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, this is it. The figures of losses, the propaganda that's going around. Um, I mean, we've always been laughing, almost laughing. Yeah, oh, the Russians are losing the war. Well, for a side that's losing, sticking around for a long time. Yeah. Okay, maybe they've overextended themselves as well. This is why I do not believe that Russia is ever a threat to the rest of Europe. Sorry, but yeah, I don't believe it. I don't apologize for not believing it, but yeah, I do not believe it. Show me the receipts for that. Okay, is Putin a nice guy? I very much doubt it. Yeah, it seems
I
like
mean, I'm sure he is on his days off.
I think he's I think he's the ultimate cold warrior. Um, would I believe anything he told me in the social? I probably wouldn't. Yeah, because yeah,
I imagine he's all right if he's, in the Saturday afternoon watching a game of ice hockey on the telly with a can of beer at the side.
yeah.
I'm sure I'm letting himself unwind a little bit. I'm sure he's
Well,
quite fun.
well, I mean, he seemed to be getting all right with number 47 the other day.
Yeah.
Cordial shaking the hands and plane spotting that they did, it seemed to be all in good jest.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, you see many celebrities have met him, and he's quite warm and cordial with them. And it's like you say. I mean, he is who he is. Um,
Well, I mean, they say it about Kim Jong-un
yeah,
of North Korea. Apparently, he's quite a nice chap as well. Just don't get on the wrong side of him, that's all.
no, you're probably a nice chap. I've never been on the wrong side of you, if I know. Probably Steve. I'd like to think I'm a nice chap.
And never do.
Never do. I'm warning you, boy. Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. It's a yeah. I mean, yeah, we've all got a nice side to us, but yeah, he's. I mean, what I saw at that table the other day in Washington was very interesting dynamics. Um, I mean, yeah, um, yeah, I saw that when Mercer's talking and Melania's going. I mean, is there any love between the Italians and the Germans since the end of 1945? Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, but
There are an awful lot of policy differences between the two, and she's made it quite clear. No Italian troops are going to go to Ukraine.
well,
Uh,
yeah,
Italy's not going to help Ukraine all that much, and Germany's doing the contrary because they're in a situation where the US was
mm,
under Biden, where
yeah,
they invested too much money and they can't turn around and say no anymore.
yeah. I mean, I'll be quite honest. When I saw Starmer sitting at the end of the table there, and he started to talk, I did turn it off because I thought within 2 seconds, I thought this is going to be
You,
embarrassing.
you you missed absolutely nothing, and it was.
Look, I wouldn't say I get depressed. I'm not a depressive type of person. I know, yeah. I get peed off rather than depressed. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I have degrees of being peed off. Yeah, I still can wake up every morning and think, yeah, what's life going to throw at us this week? And I enjoy the challenge as well. I wouldn't want life to be perfect because I'll get
uh,
bored with that. But
yeah.
um, I find one of the nice things, the way they say, cut depressive people out of your life as much as possible. I tend to do that with Starmer. Yeah, Starmer is someone I find I'm a happier person by not even seeing. Yeah, um,
It
I've
is it is enough to make me manically depressive.
well, as I heard somebody said, the man has no conversation. The trouble is, it doesn't stop him talking.